One.PoinT was one of the most intriguing stories coming into the Season 2 of Overwatch Open Division EU, with half of the roster having played for Team Portugal in the Overwatch World Cup last year in 2017. But they met expectations, finishing 9-1 in the regular season and placing third overall in the playoffs. But as we begin Week 3, they're in a three-way tie for third place at 3-2 for this tournament so far, and there are only 2 games left. And today we're joined by Fat and Horthic, who I know you guys just came off with some scrims, so thanks for coming by.
No problem.
Yeah, just
Thank you
bit.
for having us here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cool. So, I mean, as I said in the intro, of course, I think most people will remember your names and, of course, Mozasa as well from the Overwatch World Cup last year. And now you're on One.PoinT. So how did that transition happen for you guys forming this team, especially hearing about how that core 3 moved on to a new roster?
Me and Fat decided to start our own team because when the Open Division was announced, me and him weren't getting that lucky in finding a team for ourselves. So we decided to take the initiative to create One.PoinT. And what brought us all together was after weeks of trialing several people, was the fact that every single person that's currently in the team is very open to criticism, and everyone wants to improve individually and as a team.
That's great. And so I think I hear that a lot from different teams. So is that really rare to have players that are open to criticism, or what maybe what happens when people aren't open to criticism? Like what tends to happen in a team maybe?
Most of the times it's just a bad environment overall in scrims when people aren't just open to criticism and have a lot of ego, and that's not good at all when the team has a very, very bad scrim environment.
Yeah, and since like you're not open to criticism, like you're not gonna like improve fast as you should if you took the criticism.
That's great. And I think it's very evident. When we had high expectations for your team, I'm sure you guys had high expectations for yourself. Going throughout Open Division, was there a certain feeling? Because you guys finished 9-1, and then you went through the playoffs. Like, was it surprising for you that it came together in that kind of way for you to be in this position now, where you're in Contenders trials?
I think it was. We had really high expectations to get to Contender trials since the beginning of us getting together and screaming together. So I don't believe it was a surprise for us to reach to Contender trials.
Great. Yeah, and I think you guys are, of course, are doing very well. 3-2, you're in position to. I think if you win out and a couple other things happen too, then you'll make your way to Contenders too. But so as we're kind of progressing on, as we're looking to the weekend, can you guys talk about what is your team's play style?
Our team play style, it's mostly about adapting instead of just blindly picking 3-3. We just like to adapt throughout the map depending on what the enemy team has.
Right, and I think we see that too. And Horthic, I think that that goes right into kind of the next point, which is we see a lot of different off-meta picks. I'm air quoting right now, and that of course we've seen so much dive before. So Genji was a big part of it. Tracer is a big part of it. But we've seen from you in particular, Genji and Sombra have been other heroes that have kind of risen to the top, and the team seems to play around it well. So, and even you're playing Brigitte sometimes, every now and again. So when your team is approaching creating compositions, how much of it is like you saying like I can do really well on this hero, or is it as a team you guys are deciding that, hey, we know Orthic, you have a good Genji, can we play around
that? Yes, it's very interesting that nowadays Genji and Sombra are considered off meta.
I know, right?
I won't believe that if you told me that like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I won't believe it. But mostly Mozasa helps us create a lot of comps based on what heroes we are good at and what's good on the meta at the same time. And we like to play around the meta and win games in our own way instead of just running the 3-3 comp like most of the teams does. In the end, I will always care about the meta, obviously, but I also like to add a little touch of my own playstyle to it by picking Sombra and Genji, for example.
Mm. And I think what's so interesting about that is we see teams, sometimes it seems like they don't know how to handle it, but it's not like, I feel like within the scrims and of course like on broadcast too, it's not a surprise that you play these heroes for teams. But sometimes they're used to, if they only scrim against like the other meta picks, then it can be a surprise. So for you in approaching that, do you feel like it's more pressure on you performing in on someone like Genji and Sombra, or is it more on the other team that they may not know how to handle that pick?
I believe it's me performing. I'd like to believe that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen other teams also trying to pick the Sombra and the Genji not working, at least against us, but maybe that's because we know how to handle it ourselves. And
Mm.
I guess me picking Genji or Sombra, it's about the surprise effect. Some teams have no idea what to do in the middle of a match or an official. Meanwhile, on scrims, they could go back, watch the VOD, and realize it. But if I bring it in an official, no one will like have an answer to it.
Right. Especially if it's like they don't see the swap happen, you sneak up on them, and then all of a sudden there's Genji in the back line. That's
Yes, that's
yeah.
basically it.
I think we love watching that too. It's like, oh, he swaps and then it's immediately effective, and they get to Junkertown point B. So awesome. So all right, well, let's go to the other side of the table then, of course, because the DPS is flashy, and to be honest, of course, us as observers and casters, we focus around a lot. How does the DPS perform? But Fat, going to you, of course, it's easy to see when DPS is doing well, but for support in this meta, how do you feel? What do you feel is the most important role for support to be doing in the team compositions that you guys are running and that are meta at this time?
Yeah, I think like in this meta, support players need to be like aware of their surroundings and constantly checking for Euro swaps, because all of a sudden the enemy team can swap from 3-3 to double sniper, for example, which means you need to be extra careful with every step you take compared to 3-3, where you are free in the backline most likely. Uh, so yeah.
And typically, is it up to supports to be making those calls and to be watching for those things, or for you guys in particular, is there any responsibility for callouts on those kind of things?
Yeah, we have like our rules in terms of calling and shot calling. But yeah, for the main support, it should be easier to like click tab and see if the enemy team is swapping heroes or not, and just call it out for your team.
So going off of that, I mean, we are obviously in a different patch than in Open Division and what is on live right now. So of course the scatter arrow is back. We have the Brigitte changes. I believe they've been reverted, right? So the shield bash cooldown is lower, and the rally is a higher armor amount. How do you feel this is changed in terms of for you guys in preparing and playing throughout trials?
Uh,
Uh,
it's
you
me.
you want to go ahead, Artie? Okay,
I
okay.
think from open to trials, I mean, the biggest difference I see is that uh, more than likely teams have more practice in the patch than when it came out in open division. So it's not like so white and black. It's not like 3-3 or dive. There's more to it than it was in open division. And
Mm-hmm.
about the scatter in the storm arrow, I'm guessing it's a big step back when you pick Hanzo on the trials patch, because you don't have the escape or the instant burst basically when the monkey dives on you. There's more counterplay instead of what's on live. And
Yeah,
the Brigade armor, I'm guessing it's not that much of a change. It's one less second on stun and 50 more armor. It can make a big impact for imagine armored on the Zenyatta, because Tracer cannot pulse bomb him and it's harder to dive. And the stun, I guess it's harder to time it because you're used to play on live for so long
Mm-hmm.
that you expect the 6 seconds, but it's 5 seconds. So it gets some time to get used to it. So yeah.
Fat sounded like you wanted to add something to it.
yeah. I was gonna say the Enzo plays like a different role in team comps. Because with the old Enzo, with the scatter Enzo, he plays like to open up things to get a pick with scatter and everything. And the new Enzo on the live patch is just like a damage dealer. He's just like the soldier, you know, who is gonna shred the tanks. And yeah, that's the biggest difference I feel like on Enzo.
And you guys even talked about just how teams are more. Are you saying teams are more practiced on the Trials patch now, or was that? I guess in terms of the team preparation and the level of play in the teams, like how big of a difference is there between, let's see, even just playoffs from Open Division versus Trials now?
I think it's there's a big difference for some teams because there's teams that specialized in tanks, like 3-3. So having Brigade stronger now, it's very good for them. But then there's teams that specialized on two snipers, and it's not as effective. So it might be a big step back for some, but a huge step forward for others.
Yeah, I think we saw that especially with. I know there's a lot of roster changes with Northern Lights too, but I know they were the dive comp, and then everything changed, and yeah, and then Hanzo was gone as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think we're excited to see how this all turns out. It's of course only 2 games left. So as we're looking to this weekend, we have I think you guys have two. Looks like some tougher matchups. Of course, it's going to be we have Org and MorningStars Blue. So we will be watching the MorningStars Blue game, who believe you guys actually lost to them in the lower bracket finals in Open Division playoffs. So going into this next match, how are you feeling about this weekend in general?
I'm feeling confident more on the MorningStars. I'm a bit hesitant against We Have Org because they play a lot of niche picks, such for example Doomfist. They like to play Doomfist because they have a Doomfist player that's very niche. It's like me playing Genji or Sombra.
Yeah.
It's no one expects it basically. But versus MorningStars Blue, I think we're more prepared than we were on playoffs to play against their tank comp that they like so much. So I'm confident for MorningStars.
Awesome. Thad, yeah, I don't know if you have any other thoughts before we move on to the last question here.
I think it's I agree with Orthik. I think we are very well prepared against MorningStars because like when we lost against them in playoffs, like we didn't know what they were gonna run, and we couldn't find like a counter during the game, which is really hard. And yeah, we ended up losing. But after that, we just watched the game back and we found a counter to it, and now we are super comfortable. We feel we think if they get off the 3-3, they just become like more vulnerable because you're not as comfort on that on other comps as they are on 3-3.
Cool. And I guess looking for this weekend, then for your fans who are in chat, of course, and all the viewers watching, what should people know about your team so that, as they're watching, to be potential fans or just enjoy the game and the playstyle that you guys have?
As we said before, we are a very versatile team. We like to do it our own way. We play our game. We don't go for those like trendy compositions and everything like the 3-3. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Looking forward to the games and seeing you guys win your own way. Best of luck, and hope you play the best game you can, and hopefully see you in Contenders as well. That's going to do it for us here. So thank you guys both for coming on and chatting with us.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you again
having us.
thank you for having us.
The final week of EU Contenders Trials is upon us, and the top 8 Open Division teams are fighting for the final 4 spots to continue their path to pro to Contenders. Welcome to the Broadcast.gg Analyst Desk. I'm your host, Lemon Kiwi. To my bottom left is Broadcast.gg veteran analyst Panda, and to my bottom right is Contenders commentator and analyst Jaws. Today's featured match is One.PoinT versus MorningStars, but boys, this is going to be a great match.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is definitely going to be a slobber knocker if I've ever seen one coming out here, especially so late of the season. I mean, you wouldn't really see it coming out of MorningStars Blue versus One.PoinT, but this is going to be one for sure.
Yeah, not only that, this duo of teams looked so promising coming up through Open Division. You know, they faced off a couple of times as well, and MorningStars have always pipped them to the post somehow. But this time around, you know, One.PoinT are going to want to secure that victory. They need to, at least, to secure their spot in the in Contenders even, sorry.
Well, both these teams coming from Open Division, they've been grinding so long, for so hard for this chance to continue their path to pro. And these teams were neck and neck in Open Division playoffs. And to kind of remind everybody who might have missed it, MorningStars finished second in playoffs, and they actually beat One.PoinT twice in playoffs, making them finish third. So, but as the season went on, the standings tell a whole different story between how these teams developed in trials.
Yeah, and you say how close they were and how crazy they kind of made their way to the tip top. And like I mentioned before, One.PoinT, they can't lose this series. If they do, it's all in Singularity's hands and in their basket. And if they do win the match, they completely destroy everybody else and make their way to Contenders. And it's going to be a fairly close one. You got to think there's a lot of experience on both sides. I mean, you got World Cup players coming on the side of On.PoinT, and even MorningStars. You know, even though they are out, it's their final hurrah, you should say. And they've got players from people like Dance from Kongdu Unsia, for Christ's sake. This team has got a lot of big names on it, and I can imagine we're going to be seeing a lot more of them soon as well.
Panda, what do you think of how these teams develop through regular season?
Throughout the regular season, I mean, you're going to see a whole bunch of different adaptations. I mean, one of the biggest things and one of my biggest, I guess, points per se is the patch. And one of the biggest adaptations coming out here is how they're going to be adapting to 1.22. I mean, we know Brigitte is very heavy, and that going forward with One.PoinT adapting themselves around it, more or less around Malzauza. I mean, Jaws, you mentioned around these seasoned veteran players, Malzauza especially being one of them off of Team Portugal. So, I mean, he's very heavy on the Winston, very heavy on the dive, in fact, this entire team is. So, switching over to the triple 3-3 composition around the Brigitte has been very exciting to see them coming through these trials, Open Division, and everywhere else in between. Different adaptations for the compositions. It's been exciting.
Yeah, they are the embodiment of path to pro. Sorry, Lemon, I just want to get this last bit in. They're the embodiment of path to pro as well. Not only have they come through Open Division, through trials as well, they've led the way by Mao Sasa, leader of the Team Portugal squad as well. You got to think that, you know, they're going to make it Contenders. They're going to make a big splash there as well.
And I mean, you guys noted some wonderful players from both these teams. Let's go into, interesting transitions. Let's go into the stakes of this match, what this match means for both these teams. One.PoinT are playing for their lives today, while as MorningStars can no longer qualify for Contenders.
Yeah, if One.PoinT loses this series, Singularity win their next match against Disband, Singularity will knock them straight out of their Contenders spot and just slot right in there and be back in for their Contenders glory once again. But if Singularity and One.PoinT, you know, if One.PoinT do win this match, it's all said and done for Singularity. They are full on out, and it will be them taking the spot instead.
And going for those stakes as well, we know that it is going to be a juicy one at that, because going forward off of the previous statements, off of when these teams last faced each other, we know that it was MorningStars Blue coming out on top. So One.PoinT, go forward with that winning case scenario, they really have to stick to their guns, really understand that this is where they are now. They have to win this. They have to win this and move forward into Contenders.
And I mean, besides that, even though this match might not mean much to MorningStars because they can no longer qualify, it's just kind of nice. Do they really want to knock out their fellow Open Division team friend, maybe, out of a chance of Contenders? Or we'll see how seriously they take this match and what it really means to them. But quickly, we have 2-minute warning before our match will begin, boys. What are some notable players? I know you guys mentioned Malzasa and a couple, but who should the casters and us keep our eye on?
I gotta say, Dance. He's a Zen player, and I'm a Zen player at heart as well. So I kind of have to pick on this guy. You know, he's imported from Korea, Kongju Unseo. He's been through Apex seasons 1 through 4. There's a lot of experience through him, and I want to see him just bring that to the forefront. My only tiny bit of issue with that is the communication issue, maybe that could be prevalent in the team. Zenyatta rather squishy and coming up against a rather heavy dive competition that one could bring out, especially with Brigitte. Zen can be under a lot of pressure, but he needs to be able to make sure he's fully in communication with his team just to make sure he's safe at all times. Zenyatta's so strong in this current meta and will continue to do so as the trance is just such a unique and just crazy strong ability.
That's not a lie to say. I mean, too, this is the first time I've ever been on the desk with another Zenyatta main, too, so it's really hard to actually go against this as well. But I mean, to speak not only about Malzaza, but the tank lineup, and to branch off of Jaws' point as well, a very dive-heavy composition in between Brusen's D.Va has been spectacular to accompany that Malzaza Winston as well. So I expect big things to come out of this tank lineup, big self-destructs, big Graviton surges from Brusen.
Map number 1 will be underway shortly. Lijiang Tower will start us off, but who is also starting us off are our wonderful casters, Boop and Ham Tornado. Take us away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last day of Overwatch Contenders Trials with One.PoinT and MorningStars Blue. I am Boopasaurus here with the venerable Eevee Ham Tornado Fung. How you doing today?
Dude, I am so pumped. So this is really the last chance for MorningStars to make their biggest impact here. Yeah, the story may be dead for them, but they can still play spoiler for One.PoinT. And as we all know, it's not just about the wins, it's about the emotional satisfaction, Boop.
Exactly. Sometimes those consolation prizes are still the juiciest prizes. And what we mean by that is MorningStars is playing a spoiler, as we have covered on the desk and here already. So what One.PoinT needs to do is, if they win, then they're feeling it good. But if they lose and Singularity wins, then they're not going to feel as great. But looking at these team comps, they are starting to come out of the gates. And at One.PoinT, we are looking at a Brusen on that D.Va, and he is very strong there. And looking at MorningStars, Dance is going to be rocking that Moira. So we're going to wait to see that Zenyatta for a little bit longer. And Orthic is going to open it up. We talked about how versatile Orthic can be, and he's showing that here with Pharah. Not going to be the only character he plays in this match, but you know, everyone's just kind of seeing each other right now, getting that ult charge, and with that initial pick, One.PoinT is going to take the first flip, but this is going to mean that the first fight happens right before the actual take does go down. LionPro needs to get in front and start doing his stuff, but no, that's not what is going to happen, because that Brigitte is going to let his left die. That Reinhardt is going to go down. Malzaza is going to get his kill as well. So this is looking pretty good for One.PoinT still, Eevee.
This is an incredibly scrappy battle, Boop, right here. There's a Transcendence already from Scalar, and this is going to be likely the turning point for One.PoinT. Perfect, a barrage comes in, only picks up that 1 kill onto LionPro, but at this point, that's all One.PoinT needed. So they're going to take a pretty tidy first take of this point after a very long, drawn-out fight. But as you mentioned, Boop, Orthic is all about those projectile DPS, and this time around, that Pharah early pick definitely going to win out against that Junkrat. But now we do see MorningStars swapping off onto a little bit more of a better equipped composition to deal with that Queen in the air. Big one on this Soldier 76, so close to the sacrifice that we already see him going on this flank.
Ooh, and the canceled Earth Shatter coming from Malzaza. That's going to open things up, though. One.PoinT is going to get the kills. Frost getting 4. So even though the Earth Shatter didn't go down, One.PoinT still comes out on top.
Yeah, a beautiful block there of the Earth Shatter, but it didn't quite matter. It was just there to set up that high noon from Frost. We know this guy has a monster tracer, but his McCree showing up huge in this matchup as well. MorningStars, though, LionPro gonna pop that rally right away. Dragon Eddy ready with that Graviton Surge can be a huge difference maker. One.PoinT have no support ults to speak of.
Yeah, that Graviton Surge has been available at least since the first fight. There it is. It's gonna come right out. Nothing to it so far. LionPro is going to get the first couple of kills. Brusen, though, coming out on the top of that self-destruct. Really good reaction to that Graviton Surge and that pin, that crunch. You're going to hear it, guys. Malzaza is going to be showing his stuff as more ultimates do come out off the side of a One.PoinT. So Frost is going to go down with Deadeye, but he did just use one. But 1Point starting off real strong, Evie.
Indeed, 75% to their name now. And Mazausa is about to have another Earth Shatter. This guy, not necessarily known for his Reinhardt play of all the main tanks he has in his roster, but he is showing up huge over here. And everybody on 1Point on fire, as you can see, and deservedly so. MorningStars, they have yet to really find a way to break through, especially running Big One on this 76. And barrage in!
So Orthic has had such impactful barrages thus far, and Mazausa is going to follow it up, and this could be an easy round for 1Point as the numbers are in their favor thus far. And so we're just seeing staggering happening right now.
Oh my goodness, you see overtime with burning down and barely toe taps in. Najini gonna keep this alive, but he has no more bodies from his team left. Just trying his best here. Eats a beautiful charge from Mazausa. And 1Point, they have all but secured this first early round one Mercy versus the world. Not going to be quite enough as 100-0, Boop. We were expecting 1Point to be pretty strong in this matchup against MorningStars, but that's a very dominant round.
Exactly. And so MorningStars wanting to play spoiler, not able to accomplish that thus far. So Evie, tell me about what they need to do to adjust here.
Oh, they need some kind of explosive DPS to go in there. You saw that they swapped Najini off onto the Tracer. That was a pretty good pick, but just so difficult to go up against the Frost Orthic duo here. Between the two of them, they have picked the DPS platter clean, basically, as we see now as we open up on Gardens. Frost going to go over onto that Widowmaker, while Orthic takes to the air. From MorningStars, though, a very similar lineup, likely going to be a mirror matchup potentially. Both of the Lucios, Fat and Lion Pro, likely to swap off onto the Mercy to support their Pharahs in the area. Yep, we do see that switch going through. So as we have gotten used to here on Lead Down Gardens, it's going to be all about whether or not the Pharahs can duel each other out, and Najini draws first blood.
Yeah, so Najini gonna make his Orthic hit impression, but Orthic's not gonna let things go down by him itself, as he is actually putting out some damage. Najini's still a little bit ahead in terms of the ult charge. That's how you know who's being most effectful, but someone's not gonna be effectful being off of the map, so MorningStars is going to be a person down. Najini, though, going to bring that back with a great kill on Orthic, so this is a 5v5 on the point so far. MorningStars, with that initial advantage, is going to go ahead and grab the point. And with that resurrection, though, things might happen again onto the point, but Dragon Knight is going to get the DMAC and cause the reset for 1Point.
Yeah, great early picks between Big One and Najini. The Windowsill also gets, an assist there for that kill onto Orthic. But we know 1Point, they're more than capable of rebounding back in here. Ooh, that's a tilter. Frost eats the Big One from the Big One. Orthic actually swaps off onto the Tracer now, giving up that air battle. It's so difficult to push into this kind of point with a Pharah. It's a lot easier to defend, so Orthic just going to give up that battle. But Najini here, he's almost close to that barrage. Definitely going to be sticking with this Pharah, at least for another fight.
Yeah, and with the verticality being outside of the point, sometimes the Tracer can't deal with the Pharah if the fight is happening on the point. The Big One continuing to be the hotter Widow thus far on this map, getting Frost one more time. He does have the wall hacks, and so with the vision on the side of MorningStars Blue, they know exactly where 1Point is and where they're coming from. Najini waiting for a great opportunity for that rocket barrage, and he's not looking at so far, but Frost turning it around. I guess that's kind of the caster's curse, but those Valkyries are popping down. We do have a fight onto the point of Najini. This is a rocket barrage full of hope and maybe just despair, as he is going to go down, and 1Point is going to get the advantage in the fight so far, as the last staggers are coming in on the side of MorningStars Blue. 1Point flipping the point, 75-0.
Najini's barrage full of hope, but he finds his body full of bullets. And that's not going to be working out so well for MorningStars, but what an incredible first hold, especially given how quickly they were, how easily they were rolled there on Control Center. They have about 75% to their name, so not too bad for MorningStars. Best of all, they have both Tank Ultimate and that Transcendence as well. But right now you see Najini, trying to go for that Tracer 1v1 as they make their way on.
All right, self-destruct coming out now. Zassa's gonna get the primal rage kills. I believe he did knock him off of the map. So the boot is strong with this one, and so that's just gonna be an easy 20% more for 1Point coming in here, and they have the ultimate advantage as well. Both Transcendences are available. We're probably gonna see an offensive version coming from MorningStars when they do get the courage to get onto the point, but they need all the people to make that happen, as these Tracers are trying to play tag with each other. But Orthic, while playing with Najini, is going to get the full spawn kill onto the D-Mech. So that is a stagger for Dragon, and he is going to get his mech right back. That accuracy is high, so gonna get that tank back. The big one gonna open it up. Malzasa being down is gonna be a huge advantage for MorningStars, and we do get that offensive transcendence and then a defensive one coming from 1Point, so they're gonna cancel each other out. Orthic's gonna get one of the first kills onto the point one more time, so 1Point coming on strong. Pulse Bomb just barely gracing the big one, but left hand dance pulling it back from MorningStars. This is a back and forth fight on the point right now. Orthic, you're gotta get those tanks shredded. You gotta do your thing for 1Point. Gotta get some help. Now Zalsa isn't gonna go down first once again. So what MorningStars started off as a disadvantage, they actually end with flipping the point again.
Not bad though. 1Point, they have now eclipsed MorningStars. So despite all of the back and forth between these two teams, 1Point, they were holding control of the point that entire time, and MorningStars now just getting towards 90%. But this is the danger zone. Danger! One MorningStars are now in one undone territory. They just need to win out this last fight. 1Point, they're going to be relying pretty heavily on Fat's Valkyrie to continue to sustain here as they try and find those picks. Going in, Dragon Eddy sends that self-destruct through.
And doesn't get anything from it. And like you said, actually both sides are close to that one win, one round of thing, and that's a victory for 1Point. The Primal Rages are going to come out from Malzasa. Left really close to his. He's probably going to have that available unless they get a really good pick here to start it off. And so far, once again, it's just seeing and asserting their dominance, but that stick on a Scalar is going to be huge for MorningStars, keeping their tournament lives alive. But with that, Rez is even self-destruct, not going to get anything as well. Just going to get the remake down. The big one, though, is going to get Frost to continue that momentum. Now, Zalsa not going to be the first one to go down this time. You're going to get your counterpart in Bluff. And the Ginny trying to find that Tracer once again, distract Orthic and making sure that Najini gets all of that attention. Scalar, though, going to get the D-Mech. So once again, a pretty crazy fight onto the point, Ham. I'm excited to see how this one will end. And Rustin's going to try his best, get the Rez out of a Line Pro. And so what this feels like is a fight for the ages. As the Ginny is going to get the double kill. One on Orthic. That is absolutely huge. And so here, still in overtime, the Wick is going to go down. And the Ginny taking it for MorningStars Blue with that great pulse bomb, Ham.
Sometimes all you need is one Tracer with that clutch bomb to close out that map. And now MorningStars, they have tied it up 1-1. And we can tell this is not a team that is going to take this lying down at all. Boo. MorningStars biting back with the Fury. Very close map, 90, basically 99 to 100 there. We saw that even though Big One was winning out the Widowmaker duels, Orthic and Najini, that's really where we got into the meat of the DPS 1v1. Even though Najini oftentimes wasn't really able to one-clip Orthic, all you need is basically to take that enemy Tracer's attention away from the battle, force her to continue to try and scrap it out with you so you can find those opportunities to lay in those pulse bombs. But it's not going to be a duel with the TVT this time around on Night Market to decide who takes this first lead down map. They have Najini going onto the far, found a lot of success there. Frost, though, starting off with the Tracer.
Yeah, Najini played some mean fair on that first round, but the rest of the team wasn't able to back him up. But, you know, Frost is going to move over to this Tracer as well, letting Orthic take his shot at Widow. You know, and with the one kill coming from both sides, this is, oh, good right click from Dance. But now this is a numbers advantage for MorningStars. They're going to go ahead and just give them the point here, man.
Yeah, definitely 1 point. Know when the fight is going to be lost. Orthic, though, trying his best to even things out by himself. That's a 2K for the Widowmaker right off the bat, and that's going to be the signal for Bruton to try and take up some space here on the objective. Getting a lot of cleave in here. Mozaka gets the D-Mech onto Dragon Eddy. So, in the blink of an eye, MorningStars giving up this point.
Exactly, and that gave him a 30-second window to come in onto the point pretty much uncontested thanks to those 2 kills, and Frost is going to get 2 of his own, a little bit of revenge there. Line Pro going down, and you never want to see that Mercy go down because usually that means the rest of your team will as well. So Ham, 1 point is going to take it and even up the percentages.
Yeah, the rubber band is strong with 1 point here. Line Pro forced to use that Resurrection onto Dance. That's not too bad, though. He's very close to that Transcendence. You want the possibility of having that support ultimate, but it's actually going to be Line Pro popping the Valkyrie, just urging his team forward. I got that chain healing, I got the damage boost. Let's go in, try and find a pick.
Yeah, and so the Valkyrie means, hey, we're going to do this. Let's see if the Pokebomb is going to go down. Self-destruct goes off, nothing to it. But Frost is going to get one of the first picks in the big one, so no Widowmaker sniping from afar for them. Those no head clicks available. Najini, though, going to get right back onto the point. Very close to that Pulse Bomb, the way that these Tracers play is going to get it first. But speaking of Pulse Bombs, Frost is going to get the first one and Dance and force the Line Pro's Res out of them. So that's 30 seconds without that Res. So this is just a good old-fashioned Overwatch fight with no ultimates any more available for the rest of the teams. But in the end, 1Point is going to take the fight. Evie, how did that happen?
I mean, 1Point is just stellar play there. I mean, Mozasa, the desk was mentioning that this player is definitely somebody to watch out for. His Winston has been absolutely on point, living up to that team name. A big one, though, on the side of MorningStars Blue has been Dance so far, so often able to find those finishing blows, but he really needs his team to be able to back him up. Fat goes down, though, courtesy of Najini, and that's going to be a great start.
Exactly, and without that Mercy, that means no res for them. But Orthic once again going to open up the point with 2 kills, 2 headshots. That could spell the end for MorningStars. So Dragon Enny going to try his best with that stick. He's going to force the self-destruct and get the kill in the end, but Sailor finding himself in an unfortunate situation, getting killed by that self-destruct. But right now, 1Point looking good, looking fly on the point, and it's going to be overtime right now. Is Buff able to drop the shield and take the step onto the point that he needs to force overtime, but the wick is going down, and that is going to be it. And what felt like an incredible fast 3 rounds, 1Point take Lijiang Tower and go up, keep their Contenders' life alive, Ham.
Absolutely, 1Point. They're going to be feeling good, managing to take the win there on Lijiang. Play of the game goes over to Frost. I mean, we know this guy is a hit scan god. It certainly showed up huge here, 2K on Control Center.
Ooh.
It's just such a great way to start off the game, right? I mean, it was interesting. Actually, we saw Orthic on the Widowmaker to close out that night market. I mean, usually we see Frost on that hit scan, but hey, he's like, hey, brother, you go and play that Tracer. I know you want to get, some of that time-traveling bullet action going on, and that's, that's your prerogative. I'll hold down the fort with that long distance, right?
It's like they played rock, paper, scissors, right? So that they traded. Because Orthic was on that Tracer the round before. And we mentioned it earlier, Orthic's got a crazy hero pool. So we're going to see a lot of different things coming from him. And one thing that I'm excited about that we could potentially see in the next map is his Genji. So we're talking a lot about him, but some things that we don't normally talk about are the tanks and supports. And so what's your kind of take on the play on both sides?
I mean, impressive stuff from both sides, but I mean, Mozasa, I don't know if you know this about the Hammy T, but I'm a Reinhardt main. I definitely say this every cast, and you've probably heard it about 167,000 times. Yes, no, but I mean, really impressed with Mozasa, both on that Reinhardt as well as the Winston. The biggest thing is definitely, just making space. You always know when to primal rage, which we actually saw on Night Market, just not only able to save his own life, but coming in clutch to get those couple of knockoffs for his team. Got, a couple of Diva kills, I think a Zen kill. I mean, Dance is a known fragger. How do we take the Zen out? You just toss him off the side, man. You
just slap a couple times.
Gravity tragedy, as we call it here in the Koala Gaming Arena. Gravity tragedy. Yeah, F equals MA is, the gravity wins out in the end.
Exactly. I'm sure there's math that is attached to that. But, he's been playing Winston since before Winston was cool. Very, very well known Winston player, but not the only one from Team Portugal on the team, with Orthic also being a part of that. So these guys
as well.
And Fat, those 3 guys played together for quite a bit now. But something else to mention, speaking of playing together, is MorningStars is in that gaming house. So they do have that communication. They have the ability to all talk to each other in between these maps, and that can definitely not be understated, especially in this situation. And so just to kind of preface this up a little bit, 1Point doing what they need to do, going up 1-0 to get into Overwatch Contenders. That is so exciting, Ham.
I mean, 1-0, that's, one more win on the map. You're that much closer to clinching out your Contenders spot.
Yeah, that's how math works.
Yeah. Yes. I know. Simple geometry, simple arithmetic. It's no. We're not just gum flappers over here. We have
that intelligence.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And so coming back to some Overwatch, Blizzard World is going to be our next map. And, we get to see some Pharaohs. We get to see some Zaryas here. Widowmakers. What else are we going to see here?
Hey, this is a hero that we haven't mentioned yet for Orthic, but he has a very mean Sombra. Always, a good hero to throw a wrench in the enemy team's, mindset. So perhaps we may be seeing him coming out on that hero, but I mean, his Junkrat is strong, his Pharah is strong, or his Brigitte, as we see here, 1Point going to be on the defense right off the bat. And so going with this modified Zarya Reinhardt Brigitte, the 2.5 tank, the wham bam thank you, Mambulance, you may call it. I don't know. I'm trying to make it a thing. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but potentially worth every syllable.
Yep.
As Brigida's strength going up against, the enemy team, especially if they're also running a tank-heavy composition, but with no Brig, as is MorningStars showing, teasing at least early on in spawn, could be huge, Boop.
Yeah, Line Pro, they on their team sheet, they said pretty much a Brigitte main, one of the first ones to adjust that, which helped them through trials, but they have struggled here, helped them through open division, but have struggled a little bit in trials, as it looks like they are going to choose to go through main. Left is going to take a detour through Lost and Found. Oh, he's going to bring some friends with them. Oh, I guess they decided the other way. Diva's going to give his supports some ult charge as well. So they're kind of just seeing each other, waving hello, blinking their eyes at each other. They're going to go ahead and in there with that speed boost from Lucio. They're just going to go ahead and attack. And I love that aggressiveness from MorningStars, but Malzassa doesn't love it that much with a double kill on to Dance and Line Pro. So that is a fast restart, about as fast as and look at that stagger. About as fast as they were able to get on the point they lost as Dragon Eddie's still alive.
Poor thing.
That's sad to see.
I know that Baby Diva feel, man. You're just like pecking that Reinhardt in the back, and he's like, oh, did I hear, a mosquito fart? Yeah, but MorningStars, hey, sometimes you just charge onto the point, force 1Point to drop down from the high ground, and it could work out if they're not ready for it, not ready to rebound. But 1Point read the stars exactly. So MorningStars is going to try and give it another go. Luft actually has an Earth Shatter, so this Rhine Shield poke battle going to have pretty high stakes, as Malzassa is also ready. Oh, the stun!
Once again gets canceled. Malzassa, I love your idea, but they called that. They saw it right away, and an Earth Shatter coming from the other side. I'm not as successful either. So 2 Earth Shatters with that means the person with the advantage will be that defensive team as 3 kills do come down. Ham, what happened?
The stun is just so beautiful. I mean, a beautiful stun to just utterly shut down Malzassa, but his team got his back. Coalescence comes through from Scalar, and that great charge. And check this out, man. I feel like we've all seen that clip from Reinforce get that Earth Shatter and immediately rebuild the charge, and that's going to be the storyline for Malzassa. He's ready again to lay down the hammer. Frost here now trying to get the high ground, but he may not even need it, as we see the hammer goes down.
But another whiff. They might have not even known that was happening, but the grab sensor is going to take 5 of them, and the only thing that's going to slice through is that fire strikes. No kills just yet, as both teams are kind of just seeing each other once again. So a bunch of ultimates, a bunch of nothing so far. The grab sensor coming out of MorningStars is going to pop by. Some good healing from Dan Feinfro, finally getting the first kill for MorningStars, I believe, this map. So that's going to be the only one so far. As 1Point is going to turn it around, and Gruesome going to get that kill on Lux, which spells doom for MorningStars offense here. Getting that kill on the Ginny is going to all but seal it up. 1Point, another stalwart defense.
Yeah, and that's the thing. 1Point, even when it looks like MorningStars has a really good thing going for them, 1Point always seem ready, even with the loss of Fat. Orthic opening things up, a kill onto Line Pro, and this entire time, Dragon Eddie hasn't really made his presence felt on this Diva. MorningStars don't have any long distance damage to speak of. Frost is going to have basically a shooting gallery, playing Duck Hunt instead, as MorningStars is going to have a really hard time pressuring out that Widowmaker. Now we see 1Point once again repositioning here with the help of that Lucio, and he hit another beautiful the Earth Shatter finishing things out, and 1Point are just carpeting this first point with the blood of MorningStars. How do they break through, Boop?
Third time is a charm for that Earth Shatter, and that not happened the first or second time, but he finally got one down and knocked some people off of their feet. So 30 seconds left and no ultimates to try to grab this point. And so that Graviton Surge and Sound Barrier are going to be very, very important for 1Point. We're going to really look to see Fat use this in the most impactful way. But Frost is going to get the pick onto Dance, and that is going to spell disaster for MorningStars. That means they're going to come into this without numbers, and with 11 seconds left, they might not even make it to the point, as both Graviton Surges come down, but one is better than the other, and that one is 1Point. Line Pro going to go down as well, and because of that pick onto that Zenyatta Dance, you gotta feel bad about that. We do have a point A defense for 1Point, Em.
Full hold, man.
Full
hold. Yeah, that's gonna be a feels bad for MorningStars. They tried their best, just speeding onto the point, but the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and hoping for a different result. And I really would have hoped to see maybe a little bit more adaptation coming out from MorningStars, as the tank composition, there just wasn't enough damage. And Frost, even when he wasn't finding those headshot, picks, putting in a lot of damage that MorningStars had no way to answer. And I think that was probably, their biggest difficulty, trying to get onto that point. And now they're going to have the very unenviable task of also trying to full hold.
They're going
here.
for a drop.
Hey, I mean, 50% is more than a tick, but still, it's going to be very difficult. So I do like, the Junkrat coming out. Tire, still even in these days in the meta with those Widowmakers and McCree's getting so good at sniping them out, a good Tire is still a fight winner. And so when you are tasked with, full holding, you want to be able to have at least the potential for that ultimate online. You can generate it every fight if you got a good Junkrat going, and a Ginny is more than capable.
Exactly. And, he was capable on many other characters last round, and you mentioned that they were able to, adjust to the game, and they were able to do that in Control. So they're looking to do that here. And like you said, that was a very glass half full kind of analysis, with 50% being better than one tick. But as of right now, that is looking like an uphill climb. And, you called it at the beginning of the round. Fat on that Sombra, some good health packs here, and just anytime you kind of have one of those square areas where an EMP is just gonna be huge for them. So the point is for squares, guys, here on Blizzard World. So the map is about to start. Gates are opening, and we're gonna finally get to see what the attacking team is gonna roll with. And the Ginny is going to stick with that Junkrat, and that should actually be pretty good against what MorningStars is running, which is that traditional dive defense.
Yeah, make life difficult for those squishy flanking DPS or Thick. Frost both really going to have to not just keep an eye to the fight, but keep the right eyeball to the ground as well, watching out for traps, concussion mines. However, the win condition is good for MorningStars. All they need is a single great pulse bomb, a single good blade, and they have plenty of time. So they can simply poke, farm up to those ultimates, and then go all in once they have those loaded up, or they may not even need it. A beautiful dash through, already taking the Orisa down extremely low. Dragon Eddy actually gets the max.
Yep, so OnePoint is down a tape right now, and we're seeing that dive defense work exactly as planned, as our divey DPS are the ones getting... But hey guys, there is a point there. Yeah. They got so excited about the kills that they forgot about the point.
One point, they only need that 1 point.
Yeah,
it's half a point. It's the stars are just aligned.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's feels bad, man. I'm sorry.
Unlucky. I mean, when you lose your diva, that's generally not so hot, and then you lose your Orisa. 1 tank down is bad. 2 tanks down is a disaster. Exactly. So it was, just a little bit unlucky for MorningStars that those were kind of the 2 players going down so early. It's so hard to get back onto the point once that happens. Almost impossible.
Well, I am excited to see the desk break that one down. Lots to talk about there because, Control was back and forth there. That did go all 3 rounds, and Blizzard World not as, back and forth. Definitely a little bit more one-sided, but we're going to let the professionals break this one down. Lemon, what do you and the boys think?
Me and the boys are still happy the series is going on. 2 points for 1 point to start this series. Let's go over the maps. This is Broadcast.gg, Analyst, Desk, Lemon, Kiwi, Jaws, and we got Panda bringing you the brains, right, guys?
I'm trying to bring the big brain plays
We'll try
all
it.
across
We'll
the
try,
board.
right?
We'll try.
All right. Let's go over Lijiang Tower to start. Control Center was a one-sided affair. I think it was a warm-up map, it looked like. We'll call it that. 100-0 for 1 point. Horthic, man, just could not be stopped on that Pharah. And MorningStars were even running a soldier, but this somehow wasn't enough.
Yeah, who is there to stop this man if a soldier can't actually get into position? There's 2 entry points onto Control Center. You've got the bottom left, or you go up around near the server room, and Farah could just hang around in the massive, in the dome. She could basically almost sit in the skybox, rain death from above. There's nothing that can really stop her. You have to put the soldier in a very specific position to order take her out of the sky. It doesn't matter if you're running a counter at that point, because then you're walking into a wall of tanks, and that's how he would manage to get almost a rocket barrage every other fight, or maybe 1.5 every other fight. I don't know. He had a lot of rocket barrages. He got a lot of kills, and there was nothing really stopping him after that. We even saw a McCree as well coming out, which was really nice. We did see the dance, the 1v1 from him, which was also pretty cool. But Orthic, you can't really stop the guy. The problem is you weren't running a comp that can push against those heavy tank lines. Soldier just doesn't do enough in that situation.
Yeah, Dance was just a little bit too late to the party as well, taking that 1v1 and switching to Zenyatta as well. I mean, Soldier 76, you almost... And this is going to be hard to think about, but you have to have a flanking Soldier 76 to your point, Jaws, to get around and just to work around to get to that Discord orb to target down the Pharah. It's so hard to do.
Well, we move on to Gardens, 102-82, where we saw some light out of MorningStars, and we noted how capable or how great Big One was on that Widow, who had an immense impact on his team.
Well, on this map in particular, I mean, we saw the Big One slip right into comfort, right on that Widowmaker. And when they were playing around Ngini's Pharah as well, it was just enough pressure for the Big One to flank around and take headshots into the backside of the Squishy's heads. And we even saw a really nice spawn trap onto Frost. So he didn't come up on top of that battle. It's really nice to see. That's definitely how they were able to do it.
He hit the headshot. It just wasn't charged enough, and Frost managed to win it. Like, that was so close. I held my breath for like half a second. I was like, oh, maybe they both die. Maybe the server registers at exactly the same time. But you aren't wrong. The Big One really did kind of take over that game. And I think MorningStars, their only real issue on that one was that they left Dance alone. There was a couple of times where he was on his side of the map near the bridge, and then you just saw a Winston fly at him, force trance, and then you're like, okay, what's going to go on from here? I can't really do anything. I need backup from my team, and he's kind of left alone. I'm not sure if that's down to a kind of a communication issue, but regardless of that, they did extremely well. A lot better than they did on Control Center, that's for sure. Maybe that's just because they had a Widowmaker on the field rather than that soldier. Maybe that's more of their comfort pick.
Well, I mean, Big One became a target of focus fire in the final map of Lijiang Tower, and unfortunately, they were not able to close it out. 1 point lead to Series 1-0 after Lijiang Tower, where then we took a very, very short trip to a theme park called Blizzard World, where MorningStars offense, guys, they struggled to say the least, and mostly against the tanks of 1 point. Panda, talk to us about Mauzasa. He went off.
Yeah, I didn't even get stopped by the gift shop on the way out of Blizzard World either. We were there
Right.
and gone so quickly. But, you know, it's if there's one in particular player, you're right. Mauzasa was enabled to high heaven there on defense. Getting that double charge kill was fantastic. So low on the first target, got killed by the initial charge, and then got the pin against the other and splattered them across the wall. 20-second shatter, in fact. Very quick, even though he got it right blasted into the shield, didn't find anything. It's still always impressive and was really enabled by that Brigetta. And 1 point really finding themselves into their own, into a Brigetta composition. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's crazy how much damage Orion can actually do and how quickly he can build up that ult when tanks are just walking into you and you can just swing your hammer. And you've got not much to worry about because you've got all the backup of the healing, the 3 supports that you have in your toe as well. So, like, Mauzasa was just enabled completely, and that he really did kind of turn that point around. Not even around, sorry. He just held that point almost solo, it felt like. I really like the comp they came out with on the defense. The problem was there was no real get going for MorningStars. They didn't have an entry pick whatsoever. They were just walking into Mauzasa, and he was just, he was just shattering them straight to the floor, and that's where it really just ended.
Well, MorningStars couldn't even get on the ride, but with a 2-0 series start for 1 point, they are 1 map away to secure their spots to Contenders. We are now going into Hanamura. Pam, Tornado, and Boop, take us away.
Hey guys, we got our rally caps on. We're gonna pretend these like sick Overwatch ties / headbands are gonna be the rally caps because I would love to see more games. MorningStars showing some life on Control Ham, but now we are on Hanamura. We are stereotypically gonna be here for a very long time based on how Ham and I usually experience Hanamura, but we have 47 seconds. We got some team comps. Take it away, Ham.
Yeah, Boopasaurus and I, about 80% of our games on Hanamura go at least, 3 minutes last point fight. So calling it right now, I'm going to see at least 4 Coalescences, 3 Earth Shatters. But yeah, I mean, MorningStars seem to do best when they have that kind of brawly potential there, as we saw on Control Point. Maybe their set plays are a little bit lacking, especially given this patch, the difficulty of running, their preferred compositions, tank heavy with Line Pro on that Brigitte and Big One on the Hanzo, who we've actually yet to see on that hero. So as we move on here into Hanamura, we do have 1 point on the defense first, and they'll be holding with this dive. Orthic on the Junkrat, Frost on that Widowmaker, and I love this. Stuff the choke with your, we'll call it tactical area denial, with those nades, whereas, setting up the shooting gallery for Frost in the back line. So going to be expecting some more great tank play from Mauzasa, but on the side of MorningStars Blue, they're also going to be running a Widowmaker with the Big One, who, as we remember, was winning out many of those 1v1s. Ooh, not this time around, though. Gets straight up ventilated.
Yeah, not a lot of color to add there. 2 clicks, 2 headshots. That's how you win Overwatch sometimes. But MorningStar are going to get the consolation prize with Dance and going to get the res. So instead of waiting to come back to spawn, you're going to just get 30 seconds that might actually be off a cooldown before That's going to need to use that one more time. But right now, it's just they're saying hello once again, making acquaintances of each other. And we're going to see Malzahsa probably dive into the backline once they decide to come in here onto the point, as the MorningStars sends a little pesky Najini onto the point. Scalar's going to punish that, though, and make this a numbers advantage for 1Point. And Frost, who has been hot so far, you know, when you start a game like that, you kind of expect the Widowmaker to keep going, and that's exactly what we see with another great head click on the big one.
He is definitely feeling it. You can tell even just from the ult charge, Frost going to have the walls, the wall hacks, Infrasight ready up for his team, pops it before the big one even gets to 50%. And so this is going to be huge. I mean, we're not even seeing that many kills come through, like you said, Boot, but it's just biting time off the clock. I mean, Malzahsa, this guy just walks past the choke. Here, I'll just get some cleave in. I'm so close to my, ultimate. So now, though, Frost is forced to use that grapple, Najini pressuring him out, and now MorningStars will have a bit of point presence to try and get something going. Line Pro has popped that Valkyrie as well. The Transcendence also forced out from Dance. Oh no!
But they're going to stop that right before it begins. As Orphic is going to get the first kill, and with the numbers advantage, 1Point again looking quite good here. Malzahsa dealing with the same fight, feeling for his DPS. Let's see if Najini's going to be able to get anything done here with that self-destruct. Nothing to it, but with Line Pro going down, MorningStars once again gets stuck.
Yeah, Najini just trying to see if he could get a little bit more point percentage, get one tick on the board, but he is going to be found out. Was also with another huge primal rage for that monkey, sent back to anger management. Big one coming up huge. That's 2K for that Widowmaker, and this might be the opening 3. Oh, Najini coming in as well.
We talked about it earlier. Sometimes all you need to do is just click those heads and you win Overwatch. And we're seeing that right now, as the big one was a little quiet here at the beginning of the game, but right now showing their stuff, as both of these Widowmakers have shown some great dueling thus far. Frost is going to say, hey, the point is done. I'm going to switch over to Tracer. And Orphic, I believe on his 4th or 5th hero, is now on that Brigitte. And Brigitte can be very strong here on the second point.
Absolutely, not just the potential for that rally, but also just clogging up, especially this high ground choke area. Go into third person and see exactly where the enemy is coming through. The dive comes through with Luff trying to make space with that primal rage. As the big one will get a free setup as the 76 on this high ground. This is crucial.
Yeah, we call that the shooting gallery, as this high ground is pretty much just open vision on it to the point. Malzahsa taken a low, but thanks to Mercy, he's going to be able to survive that and challenge the big one on this 76, who was doing some good stuff on Widowmaker, but has chosen to go with this 76 here. Not a very favorite character in this meta, particularly only playable here on Hanamura, but nothing to it thus far, as 1Point's going to get the defense here. That first push can be scary for the defense.
Absolutely, especially when many times we see the defending team swap up heroes in order to go for that point B defense. Different kinds of comps are a little bit more favored on point B, especially that Brigitte. However, MorningStars, will be close to this tag visor now, about 70% up for big one, so it's going to be a try for this high ground control once again. 1Point, though, doing very well to make sure that they have tanks pressuring him out. But no, that's too early losses.
Yeah, so big one is going to get the first pick on to Frost, because Orphic is going to get the res. Malzahsa going to keep juggling Dance. That's happened a couple times now with 2 kills on the support, and we're actually going to go ahead and drop that tag visor, even though MorningStars is a little bit behind on this point. Big one, though, going to get the kill on Scalar, but the way that this is going down, and with the respawn, Sam, it's looking better for 1Point.
Yeah, MorningStars, they got the positioning, but no bodies to try and hold that real estate. In order to claim squatters' rights, you got to be able to squat. So MorningStars, big one, we see him sprinting, using those quads, getting back into spawn. He's going to swap up onto the Widowmaker, a little bit better of attacking pick, I would say, here on point B. Frost himself also on immediately picks up Najini.
It's just like you just hear grunting.
Yeah,
from far.
just death noises.
That's how you know your Widowmaker's effective. The game is filled with that sound effect. But, Frost can assert his dominance a little bit more, taking a kind of an aggressive position here as that Widowmaker, as once again, they're kind of just figuring out how we break through. MorningStars has the ultimates to do it.
Yeah, this is good, though. Speaking of ultimates, both support ult up, so you're going to have a lot of sustain to pick up those kills. use that time to wear down that Widow grapple. She used it now, but we still have HP to continue to try and go for kills on this point. Transcendence is going to be escorting MorningStars onto the point now.
Yeah, and the escort is going to bring Dragon Eddie down to the main level as the tanks are trying to push 1Point back into their spawn, but a Transcendence of 1Point's own coming from his Scalar is going to help them stay alive. Najini's going to open this up for MorningStars, give them a chance, but the rest of his team can't follow up as Dragon Eddie is going to go down. But Najini, once again, showing that DPS potential, been kind of the star so far for MorningStars, is going to continue his dominance onto the point. Back going to get a kill on his own. Always going to point out the Mercy kills. That red arrow on the big one does not feel good as 2 ticks on for MorningStars thus far. And we said they had the ultimates to do this, and they're trying to as hard as they can. And so the Ginny is going to continue filling up that kill feed. That's been a common occurrence thus far on this push, particularly. Risen's going to get the kill on the line pro. So let's see how these spawns kind of take over for 1Point. They're going to need to get 2 kills if they really want to defend this. This dance is going to unleash another Transcendence. Unleash Transcendence doesn't really actually go together. But the fact of the matter is he doesn't use it onto the point to keep his team up. And what a great stall so far from 1Point. About a minute off the clock thanks to the stall. But MorningStars is continuing to have the advantage and will probably grab this point.
Yeah, I know Orthic and one Monkey is all that stands between MorningStars and clinching out this fight. Mazasa does go down. Grusin now and Orthic. The time to kill is just too long for 1Point, even with those defensive spawns coming through. Luft crushes Frost, and now Diva self-destruct into the spawn should seal the deal, and MorningStars finish out the map with 1 minute and change.
Look at that symmetry. 1-1-1.
1-1-1. Make a wish.
Yeah, exactly. But MorningStar's looking good on that point too. The stall was strong coming, but was it more of a stall or was it a time to kill thing?
I don't know. It was definitely good stall. I mean, we could say from both sides that there wasn't a whole lot of DPS coming through. The focus fire maybe a little bit could have a little bit more polish on it. But MorningStars, we see now the strength of this team, right? They really love to brawl it out on those fights. Long, extended battles is where they really shine. And all they needed was a couple of those support ultimates to burst through that high ground. They gave up the 76. Not a terrible idea, I don't think at all, and went straight with that Widowmaker Tracer, and it worked out beautifully. You get that sound barrier in, and you just, hey, we just got to get through this, small hallway. You get onto the point, you start fighting, and that's how MorningStars, managed to finish out that map.
Mm-hmm. And with 1 minute 11 seconds left, what was kind of an iffy point A has turned into a full completion. And anytime you end with over a minute here on Hanamura, that always feels good. So 1Point is going to be rocking that Genji. We pointed it out earlier. I said I was excited about it. Why is Orthic's Genji so good?
I don't know, man. You're talking to a Reinhardt and a Winston player. No aim, no brain, Winston main. So, I mean... Hey, just keeping it real for all of my primate brothers and sisters out there. I'm just kidding. We saw Luft with that Primal Rage. You could make a huge difference as a Winston, which he certainly did on that last point. And so Orthic's Genji, we can theory craft all day and certainly would be a great hero to see, but he is probably going to be coming out on that Widowmaker. Make his impact in like a slightly different way. No slicing, just bullets, making civs.
Exactly. So Orthic is going to rock this Widowmaker. Double sniper coming from 1Point. So what this means is that they're looking for that initial pick so the rest of their team can grab the point. But Fat, it was actually, I should have noticed that because it was Fat playing, but it was just for the vision. So the Sonic Arrow is going to come down. Fat's going to switch back to his bread and butter, which is that Mercy. But Orthic, we're going to look for you. The big one and Orthic are probably going to get the first pick, and whoever does is probably going to spell doom for the opposing team. So right now, once again, I like saying it. They're going to say hi to each other, and they're going to see what each other is rocking, who they're going to ask to the dance. And as of right now, Frost is going to ask Dragon Eddie actually bring him quite low, and even though he doesn't get the DMAC, he does get 71% on board for that ult percentage, and as I say that, he's going to have his pulse bomb ready, so ults are online for 1Point, and the stick doesn't happen. 1 kill, though, coming from MorningStars, and Big One gets the res, so this is a 5v5, I believe, on the point, so this is kind of a slow fight here for 1Point. The Valkyrie means that, hey, we're going to be doing stuff, we're starting, guys, and they're going to keep the team alive, and thanks to that Discord or Luft, it's going to go down thanks to a team effort there to grab his life away from him. Someone else is going to get the DMAC as well. So this is a, this is a slow fight here on the point.
Yeah. a poke battle for the ages. Not really, though. I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, Boop, this power of that Discord orb and the power of the synergy coming out from One.PoinT. We haven't really mentioned him that much, but Scalar has been a monster on the Zenyatta so far, putting in a lot of good work for his team, and the capitalization is also there already. Hands down on the opposite side.
Yeah, I love how aggressive they're being. The only way that they can stop this aggression is with that tire. Is he going to be able to find the Mercy? No! Doesn't get close enough to get the kill. Bruston's going to save his Mercy. That is what you call peel, guys. That's exactly what you need to do as the BMEC goes down. And because of that Discord orb, so is Dragon Eddie. This is going to be huge for One.PoinT. We thought 111 could be good. One.PoinT is setting themselves up for an even higher time bank. That's exactly what we get with 6 minutes on the dot. So MorningStars feeling good probably until this very moment.
Well, hey, finishing out the map is always a good feeling here on Hanamura, but 6 big ones coming up against 6 big ones, always going to be a very difficult ask. But MorningStars, they will have the first chance to kind of set the pace here, so you want to see if you can get at least that first point A. But like you said, Boop, the peel is really good. The peel is great. These divas have been playing really well. Unfortunately for Dragon Eddie, though, he just didn't have quite enough support. You saw that he got demeched so early on in that point B fight. Both of his supports having swapped off. I believe there was an Ana there. And Ana, unfortunately, is one of those heroes that maybe needs a little bit of time for her value to kind of become apparent there. Very easily diveable target, which One.PoinT, was very savvy to. And so, MorningStars, hopefully on their attacking round, they can, put some point presence on very quickly. As we see here, we may have Big One going on to the Zarya. We might actually see a little bit more of that speedy meatball just flying their way onto the point.
Exactly. And something we've been talking about is Orthic's diverse hero pool, but Najiti repping a lot of other heroes as well. Playing some good DPS, playing some good Pharah, and is going to choose to stick to that Tracer. Was a little pesky on the last attacking run. And so it is now 2-0 on the side of One.PoinT. So if they are able to win this game, they get into Contenders, Sam.
It is all on the line now, not just for One.PoinT, but also for Singularity. Remember, in order for Singularity to keep their hopes alive, they are battling it out right now, but they need One.PoinT to lose this. MorningStars has to put up an impressive attack here, but Big One is down right off the bat.
Yeah, and maybe they just reset now so they can get back onto the point, but they're choosing to stay on here, not in a resable position because there is no res available, no mercy on the side of MorningStars. But with the spawns, Luft is gonna go down. It's gonna make things even harder. With 33 seconds left, they have to get some progress onto this point, or they probably will not win this round. The 6 minutes is longer than usual. However, LinePro, thanks to a great whip shot, has taken down Bruston, opened the point up, giving them opportunity. They want some progress. They want some ticks, and with all the support ultimates coming down, they're giving themselves a shot. But Orthic is saying, hey guys, not quite there yet with that great taunt kill on the Dragon Eddie. But as I am saying that, the pin on Malzasa, the Primal Raging Witch is not going to go down, but that means the time is wasted, the damage won't be there. This is definitely looking good for One.PoinT to stick on to this point. But no, Luft is going to say, I heard you say that. Thanks for doubting me. I'm going to take things into my own hands and get this point for my team, man.
What a charge Malzasa, a Primal Raging Winston all the way into next Tuesday. Luft absolutely helping his team seal the deal there. That's at least 1 point of cushion that MorningStars have now, and they desperately need it. But they're going to be coming out onto the point hard and heavy fat. He's down, no Valkyrie on the line for One.PoinT here, and MorningStars are charging onto the point with all of their ultimates in a row.
Yeah, and with the stagger, One.PoinT's actually going to be people down for almost the entirety of this fight. MorningStars giving them a chance to get this second point, and even though 6 minutes is a long time, 6 minutes might not be enough for 2 points, and MorningStars are doing the best they can. Scalar getting the only kill thus far for 1 point. LinePro opening that up with the whip shot all the way back on point A. Now we're on point B, and he's still doing the work, getting that kill onto Fat. So no mercy on the side of a 1 point thus far, but Scalar's going to come in with that Transcendence, get a little bit more time, stall it out just a little bit more. Once that goes down, we'll really see the war happening on this point right now as Preston is going to get D-Mac. The Primal Rage from Malzasa is making things interesting. The stall here is the name of the game for 1 point. Malzasa taking people off the point. They have just about half a tick remaining to capture this last point, and MorningStars still coming out on top, clicking heads, Big One. That's how you take it for your team, and this is looking so good, and they're gonna get both points. 1 minute and 11 seconds is all you need. 4 points for MorningStars.
Well, potentially, are we seeing it, Boop? Are we seeing it?
What did we say?
What did
Right?
we say? This is Hanamura, man. Maybe a 6'4" CP. You never know. But wow, MorningStars, this is in Nepal, but the snowball is real,
Yeah.
man. You saw coming in hot and heavy. They had all of the support ultimates lined up, and One Point perhaps, resting on their laurels a little bit, maybe not expecting the amount of persistence, the sustain coming in from MorningStars Blue. You saw they lost Big One right off the bat, but they're still putting pressure on that point. And hey, I mean, you never know if you don't try. I really love this from MorningStars. That mental game is so important, Boop. You never want to give up the fight. Never say never, never say die. And so now MorningStars, they bought themselves potentially another go at this.
I mean, that is a team, keeping their, lives in the game. They're trying hard. Sometimes teams will just kind of step back, be like, all right, we're behind. It's only a minute and 11 seconds. Let's just go for A. Right, but the one thing that I loved about it is they were on a mission. They walked in there, they did their strut, they did their drag race walk in there,
Yeah,
right?
dude,
they walked in with confidence.
And what we had mentioned before, the target focus and everything, we saw this absolutely, they had their heads in the game, man. And One Point, they can't be feeling too comfortable, even with 6 minutes. We've seen the time bank wear down in the blink of an eye. Oh, one push didn't quite work. We'll try another push, and before you know, you're down to your last 30 seconds. So a lot of pressure is going to be on the shoulders of Vortic to get that opening pick to allow his team the door, give them that early advantage.
Ooh, I thought for a second I felt good about that one, but just like all other maps, we're just gonna see each other here, get the tanks to tickle each other a little bit, and Frost is going to go ahead and get on the point. And what that does is it brings everyone back, so it gives his team the opportunity to come through that doorway. That's exactly what's going to happen, because Orthic is able to get that kill onto Line Pro. Not a headshot, but sometimes a body shot is all you need. And Frost, thanks to his distraction, one by one, they're coming under the point, and they're not able to deal with him thus far. So 6 minutes is going to be enough time, at least, to get this first point, as they're going to get it on their first try.
Ooh, Luft escapes with just a sliver of life, but we already see Frost ready with that pulse bomb, and it probably has a support's name on it. This guy is deadly with his pulse bomb. Ana already getting under pressure. Line Pro manages to escape as well, but already One Point pressing their advantage, trying to go for that beautiful pincer movement that bought them that point A once again. So MorningStars is going to have to be very careful here with their positioning.
Ooh, and someone who wasn't careful was Orthic there. Going to go down and stop this first push. And
a little too aggro.
Yeah, we mention it all the time. Teams want to try to get in there on their first try after A because of that momentum.
Yeah, momentum is king here, but MorningStars have gotten the time to build up to that transcendence. Going to be crucial. Dance needs to stay alive in this next fight. Fat will have that Valkyrie, and Dance is going to be able to counter it with his own support ultimate, but he cannot eat a bullet from Orthic, as the sights are also up. So you see MorningStars Blue playing their positioning very cautiously here, but oh, Frost! No, he gets the kill!
Oh man, the bomb is getting clipped into her feet. I believe Najini is going to go down. The point is open. Frost doing his thing with the MVP of point A, and potentially can be the MVP of point B as well. But Brisson and the rest of the tank line is, making an argument for themselves. Dance, this is what you call a transcendent, just to keep their team alive. Not going to do anything other than keep the point open. And, this is looking really, really good for One Point thus far. Falsasa gets another double kill. Seems like he only appears on that side of the screen as a double kill type of situation. With Malzasa's bubble, everyone is safe from the self-destruct, and so we're seeing our classic 2 CPs stall, and no, the pulse bomb actually misses, but that was definitely fancy to watch.
Oh man, it's so close. One Point, they want this point so badly. The stall from MorningStars, will it be good enough? No time even for the May to come out, as Malzasa helps clean up. This guy, everybody is a ripe banana to this gorilla. He just smashed. You're right, every single time he shows up on the kill feed is like mad primal rages, just getting that last bit of tickle damage in. And MorningStars, how do you feel, man?
I'm feeling good about them, actually.
Yeah,
and so,
yeah.
I mean, they got to 4-4, and, even though their defensive haven't been super strong, they might be able to make some adjustments here, because, again, this is the series on the line, and so if you have to make the adjustment here.
100%.
There's no choice.
Yeah. No, down to the wire, man. It's going to be Najimi on the Junkrat once again. Going for the tire. Big one on the Widowmaker, reprising his role there as premier head shooter. So MorningStars, they got it. They can't let Luft fall once again, though. Luft and Dragon Eddy on this same tank duo. You have the Orisa and D.Va. So, you know, you got the little bit of the hunker and bunker, but you also got the peel potential with that defense matrix. But we remember back on Blizzard World, this is those two tanks going down first. That's what lost them that point. And so MorningStar is going to have to be very careful that Dance not just putting in the frags, but also getting that healing on his two tanks to keep them up. They are the front line. They are going to be the difference between MorningStars dropping here 3-0 and potentially sending this into extra innings.
Yeah, MorningStars bringing the beef with Luft and Dragon Eddy on that D.Va and Orisa respectively. And thanks for pointing that out, because, you know, when that tank line dies, that means no one is there to protect your head from Orthic.
Yeah.
Is that the transitional phrase right there? The big
Segue.
one going to start it off. 30 seconds down for Line Pro's Rez. And they have to, it's only one tick here for point A, and Frost literally doing exactly what he did last time, but the rest of MorningStars is already on the point because of that Orisa. And so just because of the character she is, she was going to hang back and stick on the point. And now we do have a back and forth fight. Actually, it's like going to be more in the favor of One.PoinT, because that was just a D-neck. But now we are truly in that rock, paper, scissors style of fighting. MorningStars, One.PoinT, I think, are even here, but One.PoinT going to take their time and take the advantage here and reset.
Exactly, One.PoinT. They are playing this pretty intelligently, looking just to see if they can catch MorningStars off guard, but a really good rebound defense. And now Nagini is going to have that tire, most likely Orthic, though, so incredibly close. Pops that info site. And so now MorningStar's going to have to play even more cautiously. They're trying to set up crossfire here. Frost in the back pressuring the squishies behind the Orisa shield, whereas Orthic are looking for heads in the front.
Exactly, and what Frost did the last time was bring attention towards him, and that's exactly what he's trying to do here. But to no avail, as MorningStar is dealing with this attack much better than they have any other attack thus far here on Hanamura, as exhibited by Dragon Eddy's kill on Orthic, where they were previously allowing these Widowmakers to take as many headshots as possible. The pulse bomb does get stuck on to Dragon Eddy to see if this tire is going to take even more time off the clock. For One.PoinT, searching for a victim here, doesn't find it. I think detonate's just a little bit too early, man.
Yeah, a little bit close, but crucially taking up all of Frost time moves. Aston now actually going to pop the primer rage, looking for that same magic, but no.
Trap.
All he's going to get is a pulse bomb to the face, all expenses paid.
Yeah, and great defense matrix actually coming down to block Frost's damage. Could have maybe gotten a kill onto Luft there. As MorningStars, you know, we talked about it. They're making the adjustments.
Momentum-based team over here, and Nagini's going to have yet another tire, but big one is down. I don't think it was a resible position either, so now there's a man advantage. Frost, once again, just being so annoying. He's constantly on the point. MorningStars can never rest comfortable. However, Nagini going to have yet another tire. The shield is strong for Luft.
Yep, they have about 20 seconds with that man advantage. The hunker and bunker is it strong. Left shield is on cooldown for about another second. Yeah, and there it does. It does go down. Blocks the damage, self-destruct. Could be big, and that is all you need sometimes. With Line Pro going down, this is One.PoinT's chance. Dan's going to take down Orthic, however, but without either mercy. This